the stand. Now he runs. He produces a magic trick. He pulls out another one. This is incredible. This is ridiculous. This is 15 out of 10 on the incredible meter. What a player. What an entertainer. Give him the medal. Give him the Dally M medal.
Hello, footy fans, and welcome back to the Chip and Chase podcast, the final round review, or in this case, game review of the NRL 2024 season is upon us. The grand final, it took place on Sunday. We didn't get a podcast out yesterday because I was violently hungover, so you had to bear with me a bit, unfortunately. We've got it out today just because I wanted to talk a bit of footy. I'm sure for a lot of you, the footy fever is already setting off, so you might not be tuning in, but if you are, thank you guys for doing so much. In the end, I'm just here to talk footy, and I love doing so. I really would have loved to have, actually got straight on it when all my thoughts were fresh, but in that time, in my hungover state, I actually did watch the grand final again, so now I've got even more to sort of talk about and wrap things up. This time, we're not really doing the team of the week. I mean, it's the grand final. You can only choose from two teams and one team won. Despite that, I thought it was an unreal game. We all thought this could have been one of the greatest grand finals ever. Did it quite live up to that? Maybe not the greatest ever, but it was a really, really good game of footy. The two best teams, and you could really just, you could see that from the way that they were going about it. And another big shout out to the refereeing for letting this one play out. They put the whistle away. I think there was a point in that first half where the game was maybe 35, 36 minutes in, and the ball and play time was 33 minutes. So very, very few stoppages. It was just rugby league in its purest form, and that is the best part about it, to be honest. So really enjoyed it. Of course, the Penrith Panthers, the big story out of it, picking up their fourth premiership in a row. And what a storyline that is. The fact that this was their fifth grand final in a row, but their fourth win. That, of course, being because in 2020, they went to that grand final and they lost to the Melbourne Storm. So to tick this box off, to jump that final hurdle and have that revenge victory against the best team, that we've had in the past 20 years, in my opinion, for the Panthers to now tick that off their box, the team that started them on this journey in a way, it's amazing. Now, in terms of, the hype that was given to 3 in a row, is the 4 in a row getting that? No. But what it does do is it does lock in this team as the greatest rugby league team or NRL team that we've ever seen. Of course, we can always go back to the great teams of the past. No one will ever do what the St. George Dragons did in the 60s with 11 comps in a row. But it's a completely different game at that point. There was unlimited tackle count, if I remember correctly, no salary cap. So essentially back then, it's just, if you want to win, if you're the best player wanting to win, you just go to the St. George Dragons and they will take you. No salary cap is a huge, huge indicator. For a team to do this in today's age with the salary cap and with the players that they lose each and every year, it is just mind-boggling to see that this has happened. I don't think it will be repeated ever, and it makes me extremely proud to be alive to witness this in my lifetime. Because I do think this is a once-in-a-lifetime sort of thing that we're watching occur. I don't get me wrong. I wanted the Storm to win. I'm very much sick of this Penrith Panthers dominance, but that's just it. It is dominance. We are witnessing history in the making, in front of our very, very own eyes. So, really privileged to be able to watch a game like that and to see the Panthers do what they're doing. I'm sick of them. I keep saying the last 2 years, realistically, I'm like, okay, they've done enough. Next team win. And I thought the Storm were the best team this year. But when you get to the big, big dance, Craig Bellamy and his team, that they know what to do. The Panthers know how to do it even better, and Ivan Cleary and his boys. So, yeah, it's just exciting. The competition and hopefully the rivalry that these teams go on to have. Of course, as we mentioned earlier, Panthers, they lose players every single year. This might be their biggest test yet heading into next season. Losing Jerome Luai, a member of your spine, and, well, James Fisher-Harris, the leader in your forward pack. Isaiah Yeo, definitely the captain and the GOAT of the forwards, but the aggressive leader of James Fisher-Harris is going to be sorely, sorely missed. I think these two players are going to be the hardest tests they've had to replace yet. Will the Panthers be able to do it again? Who knows? I'm definitely not going to write them off. the fact that they've done it 4 times in a row now, despite losing players like Matt Burton, Viliami Kikau, Stephen Crichton, James Tarmo. I know Tarmo and Mansour were a part of that team that didn't win, that 2020 team, but these are all veterans and fantastic players in their own right. And they just keep losing them, and they keep finding another man to turn up. So it's going to be quite interesting to see where they go next year. The Storm, you assume they only get better. A lot of their players are actually coming into the best periods of their lives. If you think Eli Katoa, this is what, his second year at the Storm. He was Dally M's second row of the year, and he had another fantastic game in this grand final, which we'll talk about in a bit. But Eli Katoa, Sean Bloor in his first year and still young in his career. Trent Liero still so young. They're all going to be getting better. It's just more reps under the belt for all these players. So the Storm, I see them getting better. The Panthers, can you say that they're going to regress? I'm not sure you can confidently say that at this point in time. After witnessing what they do each and every year, I can't go out there and confidently say, yeah, look, the losses are going to be too much. They are going to get worse. You'd like to hope so. You'd like to be like, it's not possible for a team to lose the players that they're doing and keep being as good. But if it's possible for any team, it's probably possible for this Penrith Panthers side. So, yeah, what a fantastic grand final. Let's get into the sort of game and how it played out. Now, we mentioned the best part about it being the ref putting the whistle away and this game just being played out, just hard and fast rugby league. Of course, Storm got on the board first. It was great from the sense that there was just so many set periods of momentum either way. It wasn't just holding out, jagging a lucky try for either team. It was one team would just wrestle momentum back, and then the other 5 minutes later wrestles it back, and it was just a game of chess watching these two sides go at it. But Harry Grant did pick up the first points of this game with a beautiful short side run from dummy half going over. Very close to we had 2 tries for Harry Grant and the Clive Churchill as how tip over on TBC Live. So didn't get very close to that, but we were a bit confident seeing him cross for that first one. And yeah, that was when you Storm, I'm thinking they're on top. This is it. They've survived that early onslaught. They can go away with it. But Penrith hit back 4 minutes later so quickly with Sasania Taruva try. A great backline play out to the left-hand side. And he scores in... That's another man that we forgot to mention. He scores in his last game for the Tigers before he departs... for his last game for the Panthers before he departs to the West Tigers next year. Is he as bigger a loss as some of the other names? No, but... he's still a winger scoring your team's first try in a grand final. It's a big role to fill. He's a big player to fill, Sasania Taruva. Massive pickup for the Tigers. But yeah, he crosses 4 minutes after Harry Grant on just a really good backline play from the Panthers. And they get the game, not back level. The big thing in this one, it didn't make too much of a difference in the end. But Nathan Cleary with the boot, only 1 from 3. Normally in these situations, you just expect him to ice everything. Doesn't make a difference to the result, as we know. But the misconversion from that Taruva try meant that Storm was still up, and then right before halftime, Liam Martin crosses 2 minutes before halftime with a beautiful line. I think you look at that one, for me, Cameron Munster sort of missed his assignment there. I think Sean Bloor, he's sort of beaten on the outside by Nathan Cleary's speed, but if you watch it, they obviously show the replays. He lunges out. He actually gets to Cleary pretty easily. But Cameron Munster... obviously not trusting in Bloor to make that ground up, but also doesn't commit to anything, sort of stands still, opens up the space for Liam Martin to go through, doesn't contest the Cleary tackle, doesn't contest an intercept, doesn't contest Liam Martin, and then it's just an easy run through for Liam Martin to score that try. Of course, Liam Martin ended up getting the Clive Churchill medal for this one, and yeah, to me it was between him and Isaiah Yeo. I can't really push back on the Liam Martin because it's his effort areas that just elevated him to that point of getting that Clive Churchill medal. Of course, scoring that try, great thing. He's a second rower. Those don't come by too often for him. Maybe for a few other second rowers. Eli Katoa on the other side of the field snagged a few this year. Liam Martin, he's not the most prolific try scoring back rower out there. His stats don't really hold up compared to a lot of others, but it's everything else that he does that's just insane. It's that line. It's the effort to be there, sure. You'd want that from every other second rower. But then it's his kick chase presser. There's multiple times where Panthers are putting up a good kick, and right the millisecond, timing it perfectly, is Liam Martin leading that chase and smashing the play. I think he did it to Xavier Coates maybe it was Warbrick and Ryan Pappenhausen just leading that chase, smashing them as soon as they catch that ball and touch the ground. Perfect line speed, perfect just defensive intensity, and that's what he brings. That's the sort of effort areas that Liam Martin brings to a game of football. But beyond that, we mentioned those effort areas again. The Panthers score their third and final try in the 60th minute through Paul Alamotti. And that is purely Liam Martin again. I didn't even see him screaming through. I'm watching on, I think it is Paul Alamotti or it's Isaac Tungo or someone, I can't actually recall, going up to contest it, but screaming through, essentially coming from off the screen. Liam Martin sprints through, he jumps up, takes the ball in the contest over Ryan Pappenhausen, bumps him away, offloads it to, I think, Moses Leota. Leota throws it over the top to Paul Alamotti, and Alamotti scores in the corner. Essentially, you can pin that down straight to Liam Martin again. So there's 2 out of the 3 tries for this Panthers side that are directly from Liam Martin in my eyes. And I think that's the big reason he got the Clive Churchill, because the scoreboard is... the Panthers probably don't score that many points without Liam Martin doing what he did. But as I said, beyond that, it's those effort areas that he was insane in. There were multiple times as well where I saw him end up on the other second row side. So where Scott Sorensen normally parks himself at, somehow Liam Martin in his efforts is screaming across and making tackles on that other side of the field, just because that's the sort of player he is. So I can understand them going with the Clive. To me, I would have gone with Isaiah Yeo, but to me, it's no real difference. I thought Isaiah Yeo, let's mention him right now. The reason I went for Isaiah Yeo is just, he's so good. What a captain's knock. To me, as I said in a few more podcasts earlier this year, but if you didn't tune into them, and I'll say it again here, to me, he's been the 3rd best player. Just consistently, I would have him number 3 best player in the NRL, behind Nathan Cleary at 1 and James Tedesco at 2. I think there's probably a decent drop-off between them and everyone else. We have some insane players in our competition. You think of this Melbourne Storm spine, Grant and Munster and Hughes and whatnot, but just consistently for such a long period of time, Isaiah Yeo, as soon as he's been moved into that lock-forward role, it's amazing what he's doing. Now, to me, this game essentially makes him the greatest lock-forward of all time, in my opinion. No, he's never got like a Dally M or whatnot. Maybe individual accolades-wise, doesn't quite stack up to Bradley Clyde or Jason Taumalolo, but 4 premierships in a row as the captain, putting up the numbers he does, it's just, I don't know what else you can really talk about with him, and we've said that in multiple podcasts, but he was just unrelenting in this game. They could not find a way to stop him. He was running like a fullback out there, just breaking tackles like he was James Tedesco. Played the full 80, Isaiah Yeo, 24 runs for 233 metres, 76 post-contact metres, 1 line break assist, 5 tackle breaks, 46 tackles. It is unbelievable what he was doing out there. And of course, again, things that stats don't measure, his ball playing, his link man skills, always putting the Panthers in good shapes, always giving great depth in his passes to Luai and Cleary. He's just unreal. He really is, and I don't know what else there is left to say, but this is probably, to me, it could have been his best performance I've ever seen, and he saved that for a grand final against the Melbourne Storm. And he doesn't get a Clive Churchill, and that's fine. Liam Martin, I'm not going to take that away from Liam Martin. Another thing I actually didn't even realise here, Liam Martin made 46 tackles of his own, so look at that. It's just mental what those two are up to. But yeah, I've got no quips, gripes with it going to Liam Martin. He was unreal. As I said, his effort areas, the things that can't be measured, he's so good at. But Isaiah Yeo, he would have been a very, very close second. Hopefully he can win one before he retires as well, Isaiah Yeo. Of course, he's such a team man. An individual accolade like a Clive Churchill won't really matter to him. To him, it's just about getting these wins. But to me, look, I just want to see him get that. From a selfish point of view, I want to see Isaiah Yeo with one of them. He's the captain of this Panthers side. He's been leading them the entire way. Nathan Cleary, the superstar, he gets accolades. He's a 2-time Clive Churchill winner. Another spine member, and Dylan Edwards is one of Clive. And Liam Martin, with his individual efforts, he deserved it as well. I'd love to see Isaiah Yeo win one before he retires. But, as I said, I don't want Panthers to win 5 in a row. I'd like to give him a few 4-year break And then maybe at the back end of Isaiah Yeo's career, he can get another Clive Churchill, or he can get another premiership win and a Clive Churchill there. But he was just unreal, as was, everyone involved in this Panthers organisation. The fact that Brighton To'o only played 57 minutes and ran the ball 22 times for 213 metres in 57 minutes, 87 post contact. He was unreal. Really good defensive efforts as well. Paul Alamotti, we mentioned last week, week before. No, it was last week. Just where he's come from to where he is now, to winning a grand final after being a reserve grader for a Bulldog side down the bottom of the ladder. Wasn't picked in this team to start the year. In fact, the rumours in the preseason were they were actually going to turn him into a middle forward and bring him off the bench as some impact. So for him to go from allegedly all that, where he was at the Bulldogs in a struggling side, to now being a starting centre and a try scorer in a grand final. Yeah, I've said it all before, but just what an incredible journey for Paul Alamotti, and to snag his first premiership now. Of course, a lot of these players, it's their third, fourth, second, whatever it is, multiple premierships for most of these players. Paul Alamotti, this is his first, as it is for Sania Taruva. That's their first wins in a premiership for the Panthers, of course. Taruva off to the Tigers next year, doesn't get another chance to win. Oh no, Sania Taruva might have won last year. Regardless, it's insane. He was amazing as well. 25 runs, 202 metres from him. I thought he was brilliant. Isaac Tungo. Now, he's someone that essentially all season I was like, he really needs to be dropped. His defence is not up there. His reads are not up there. His effort areas are not up there. And to be honest, I don't think his attack had been there for a long time, which is something he's always been so good at. When it came to this game in particular, it's almost like he put on a ploy for the entire season, trying to get people, look, yeah, I'm a crap defender, target me, I'm letting people through. And then when it comes to a game plan like this and you're like, okay, attack Isaac Tungo because he's been poor defensively, he doesn't miss a beat. He had so many great plays in defence, still ran the ball 15 times for 135 metres as well. Thought he was unreal, Isaac Tungo. Look at that, 37 tackles made by Isaac Tungo. That is a centre with one missed tackle. 92.5 tackle efficiency from a centre. 37. That is, wow. That is unbelievable. I knew he made a lot of tackles just watching him out there because I knew the Storm were targeting him. But 37 made for one missed from centre for someone who has been struggling all season with defence is just, what? What can you say? That is just unbelievable. So, yeah, massive shout out to Isaac Tungo. As I said, I've been harsh. I've been pretty critical of him as a player, essentially all season. But then the big dance comes, he flicks that switch, and he's on one. So, yeah, wow. That is unbelievable, to be honest. Look, more individual efforts. As I said, everyone in this Panthers side is going to get their dues. It's only the one game, so I can spend a little bit longer on this podcast. Dylan Edwards, again, 28 runs, 246 metres, 5 tackle breaks, just everywhere he needed to be all the time. Made some really good tackles in defence as well, some try savers. Notably a part of the Jack Howe with no try. Now, there's a little bit of controversy with that, which, I guess it's just going to happen when you come to a big game like this, the final game of the season. If you're a Storm supporter, you're going to argue it no matter what. But, they did release images straight away. Like, the bunker said it was a no try, and they released images straight away. They got on the front foot because they knew there was going to be backlash on that decision. They released those images showing that he never got the ball to the ground. I don't know what else you can really talk about. I thought live it was a try. Like, I was a bit, not as a Storm supporter as per se, but as someone who was backing them for this game, I was like, it's a bit hard done by a big call in a massive game. But when that footage and those pictures were released, I couldn't question it, and I was someone who was backing the Storm, so, I'm not going to think that's a robbed or whatnot. You had the rest of the game to score more than 6 points, Storm, and you didn't. And that try, there was nothing in it. But again, that comes down to Dylan Edwards being there, being in that position to make that tackle. There was also like 3-4 other Panthers around that. And that's what happens when you're a fantastic club. You're an absolute great club in greatness. We're witnessing greatness. Those effort areas to have 4 people get around that player to wrap up that ball and not let him score that try. That's what makes the Penrith Panthers so good. So, massive shout out to Edwards, massive shout out to all the other players there. The halves, Jerome Luai. We mentioned him off to the West Tigers next year. So, this was his last game for the Penrith Panthers. Goes out another premiership winner, 4 in a row for him. Love him or hate him, what he does on a footy field is just, he's so good. Sure, he's the perfect foil for Nathan Cleary, and they match each other so well in attack and in defense. I think he's unreal as well. But outside of how they are as a combination, he's so good to watch. The way he plays his footy, so entertaining. So, as I said, you love him or hate him. I know there's a lot of haters of Jerome Luai out there. I'm not his biggest fan. Obviously, the antics he gets up to on the field are stuff that I'm not a fan of. Same as, similar vein to Reid Marnie out there. But as players, you can't deny how good they are. And Jerome Luai, he is good. He's great. That's 4 premierships in a row in a key area, a key position, like playing 5'8". I've got no doubt that he can be that man to steer the Tigers out of the bottom 4 and hopefully into finals in the next few years, because he's unbelievable. 137 metres from him at 5'8" as well, with a line break assist and try assist thrown in the mix. Speaking of line break and try assist, the halves partner, Nathan Cleary. We just mentioned that line break assist, the try assist to Liam Martin to put him over. A lot of people said he went quiet in this one. I think I've got to ask you what game you were watching. Just because he wasn't dominant in every single play doesn't mean he wasn't dominant as a player and as part of that team. 29 runs for 212 metres from your halfback. Still had, as I said, that try assist and line break assist. 5 tackle breaks, 475 kicking metres. Like, what do you actually want from him? What do you want from Nathan Cleary? He can't do much more than what he was doing out there. It's a team effort. He wasn't just a passenger in a great team here. He was still very much leading this great team in different areas. Just because his stat sheet doesn't show that he had a hand in every single try doesn't mean he wasn't doing his job and pulling the strings out there. He was unbelievable again. He will undoubtedly go down as one of the greatest of all time. I'm already close to giving him that mantle. If he retired right now, I'd be so close to giving it to him. To me, you look at the greatest players of all time, the top 3 in no particular order to not ruffle feathers. I want to say Cameron Smith, Andrew Johnson, Jonathan Thurston. As I said, no particular order, but those 3 players are probably the top 3 greatest rugby league players I've ever seen, in my opinion, just from accolades and whatnot that the game has ever seen. Nathan Cleary has now won more premierships than all of them, maybe barring Cameron Smith, but depends what your view is on the stripped premierships. But Nathan Cleary's won as many as all of them in a shorter career. He's already like top 5 point scorer of all time or something like that. He's won all those back to back, which no one has ever done. He's still got so much more of his career ahead of him. As I said, I really do want the Panthers to stop. I'm sick of seeing them win. I want them to stop for a few years, but hey, he could stop for 5-6 years and come back and win some more in his 30s. And I have no doubt he will. I don't think he's done winning premierships, Nathan Cleary, whether it's next year, the year after, or 5 years in the future. I think he's got 1 or 2 more in him, and that is incredible to sort of think about. We could be looking at a 5-time premiership winner, maybe a 3-time or a 4-time Clive Churchill winner, depending on how everything goes down. He's just, he's unbelievable. And yeah, sure, he didn't pick up a Clive Churchill medal in this one. Doesn't matter. Cameron Smith didn't pick up a Clive Churchill in 2020 when Ryan Pappenhausen got it. Is that a neglect on Cameron Smith's career? I don't think so. So, Jonathan Thurston, he won 2 premierships. One of them was off the bench. He didn't win a Clive for that one. Does it really affect his legacy? No. So, yeah, Nathan Cleary, we are witnessing history, not just with this Penrith Panthers organisation, this club, but players like him. The other thing is, there are still more players that can go on to win 4 more, more than 4. Sure, we lose Luai, who's just ticked off his 4th. We lose Fisher Harris, who just ticked off his 4th. Liam Martin, Isaiah Yeo, Nathan Cleary, Brian To'o, Dylan Edwards. I think all of those players can go, if they win, they're going to keep going on that stretch. Players like Mitch Kenny, I think, missed the first one, but have been involved in everything else. So, yeah, it's just, I don't know. It's ridiculous to talk about what we see from this Penrith Panthers organisation. And yeah, it's truly remarkable, to be honest. Quickly mentioning, as I said, I can't mention absolutely everyone, but everyone involved in this game, from refs to players from both sides, had really good games, in my opinion. James Fisher-Harris, again, leading from the front, 18 runs, 158 metres, 53 minutes from him. I thought he was unreal. But another man I want to mention, equally in that sense, from the Storm, I thought Josh King went about his business and really stood up to that challenge really, really well. I know we're not talking about the Storm just yet, but I'll give Josh King his love here. 54 minutes from Josh King in the front row, only 95 metres, but every time he went looking for that challenge of James Fisher-Harris, every bustling hard run by Fisher-Harris, Josh King just levelled him, absolutely stopped him in his tracks and got him to ground. Thought he was equally as impressive as Fisher-Harris. Maybe the numbers don't stand up, but 38 tackles from him as well. I thought he was so good, Josh King. So I'm going to give him his love. Let's get back to the Panthers real quick, and let's talk about their bench players. Lindsay Smith and Liam Henry. Now, one of these players, you'd assume Lindsay Smith has the more experience of the two, probably fills in James Fisher-Harris's front row position heading into next year and maybe the years after. And it's games like this you can see why. Will he bring exactly what James Fisher-Harris brings? No. Will he bring what Lindsay Smith brings? And is that just as good? I think it could be. I think he's such a good player, Lindsay Smith. Also just been announced in the Australian squad, which I think's an amazing testament to his season this year, and to think about where he's come from to get to this position, I think is so good for him, and I think it's very deserving to see him in that Australian side. But 16 runs for 133 metres from Lindsay Smith. He also had a line break thrown in there, made a fair few tackles. Where's the tackle count for him? Yeah, 30-odd tackles in there. Thought he was excellent. Liam Henry, thought he was unreal as well. Just his enthusiasm and energy, I thought he was really good. Scott Sorensen, unreal. Everyone was unreal. The maybe not blights on this game, but the disappointing things for it. Brad Schneider, he gets a premiership ring. He's technically a premiership winner. Didn't get a single second on the field though. Sat on the bench for the entire game. It would be a little bit disappointing. Sucks that he couldn't even just get out there for a minute to play in this game. But of course, rotations and whatnot are ruined, especially with the Brian To'o coming off and having to put players out there for that. And, you know, realistically, with Nathan Cleary's injury heading into this game, Brad Schneider was just there as a contingency plan coming on if they needed him to. I still would have liked to see him get some game time as part of this side, but whether or not it bugs him or not, in the end, he's still part of that side. He still gets a ring. Nicho Hynes did the same for the Storm in 2020, and there's a lot more spoken about that because it's Nicho Hynes. But Brad Schneider, he's now a premiership winner. Whether or not he played or not, he's part of that side. The other man who I feel a bit sorry for, Matt Eisenhuth, originally named on this team on the bench in jersey 17, didn't end up playing with Scott Sorensen a late in. It meant Matt Eisenhuth went to 18th man and, of course, did not get any game time either. I'm not sure if an 18th man gets a ring or not, but he's, again, an important part of their side, an important player to win that premiership with them. Didn't play the game, sure, doesn't take away from his success and his role with them in this season. So, yeah, that's sort of everyone for that Penrith Panthers side. And, of course, lastly, the coach in Ivan Cleary. In terms of where he ranks in the greatest of all time, I think he's still, to me, he's in third place already. I think Craig Bellamy, the man he went up against and beat in this grand final, is top two. And I think Wayne Bennett, of course, the other one, is top two. If Craig Bellamy can win one more grand final without the big three, his legacy is almost untouchable. At the same time, nobody's done this. Nobody's done what Ivan Cleary's doing and have won 4 premierships in a row. And it could continue. Maybe it doesn't continue in a row. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. Could very well continue for the years after that, as I said. So, yeah, what can you say? He's a master, Ivan Cleary. I've got a lot of love and respect for him, obviously, as the coach that took my Warriors to a grand final, and just the love and respect he has for the game and our club and this club. You love it. If you guys haven't gone and watched Undisputed, the 3-episode docuseries or documentary of the Panthers on their way to their third grand final against the Broncos last year. Go and do yourselves a favour and watch that. It is unreal, and to get a sneak peek into the ins and outs of this organisation is so incredible. But there's got to be another documentary made about this. 4 grand final wins in a row, 4 premierships in a row. Ivan Cleary and everyone involved in that Panthers organisation to build this club to where it is. It's unreal. And as I said, we're witnessing greatness. And what else can you say? For the Melbourne Storm, I want to give equally as much love, but I don't know if I can. They were good. I'm not going to sit here and say that they were really poor. Did they play to the standard we know they can? Maybe not. Is that down to them being poor, or is it more down to the fact that the Penrith Panthers are just so good and can stop you from playing your best? I'm leaning more towards that. I lean more towards the Penrith Panthers just being able to unsettle you a bit. But I thought the Storm was so gutsy. I thought they tried all the way to the end. Harry Grant was unbelievable. Of course, as I said, he was the tip for the Clive Churchill medal for me. I also thought the Storm would win the game, so that would have helped that out. If they won the game, I'm sure he would have been right up there. Cameron Munster, I thought, was unreal. Ryan Pappenhausen, I thought, was excellent. In fact, the only player who I thought didn't stand up, and I don't think that's a knock on him, but Jerome Hughes. This is the big thing with the Melbourne Storm, and we've mentioned that it's very hard for all 4 spine members, all 4 superstars, to all have incredible games, because they're all ball handlers. They all have to be in the ball so much. When can you overcall someone who's got the hot hand? You can't really. So I've got no knock on Jerome Hughes for this game. I don't think he played poor at all. I thought he was good. But just, I guess, compared to the other members of that spine, who I thought were insane, he looked a little bit out of it, especially for the season he's had, being a Dally M winner. But again, I don't think he played bad at all, Jerome Hughes. I thought he kept trying and still ran for over 100 metres at halfback. Had some really good kicks as well. It's just how good Ryan Pappenhausen played, how good Harry Grant played, how good Cameron Munster played. Cameron Munster will touch on to start, to be honest. Now, throughout essentially this entire season, in and out with injury, never got really close to how good he can be until finals came. And then, of course, a grand final like this, and he flicks that switch, as we mentioned. 22 runs, 181 metres from Cameron Munster. He was just absolutely everywhere. Any half chance he got, he would take it. And he looked dangerous in every touch of the football. I feel so tough for this Storm side. I don't know what you could have done. Like, they played so well. They played so well. And they couldn't get the job done. Maybe they missed a couple of opportunities. Of course, the Jack Howarth one that we mentioned, it's not on Jack Howarth. It's not on the bunker. It's on the Penrith Panthers and their scrambling defense and their effort areas to stop that. Yeah, they're that close. The Storm were that close to getting another try, which maybe puts them ahead or gets them right back into the game. Do things change? Who knows? In the end, we can't speculate on that too much. I think they've missed a few other opportunities, the Storm, but again, I don't think it's because of how they played. I think it's because of how the Penrith Panthers kept turning up in defense. And I've got no blights for the Storm. It sucks to lose a grand final like that if you're a supporter of them. I'm, as I said, a neutral fan, hoping they would have won. I was disappointed for them, and I know it sucks to get to a grand final, to get all. This is what you play for every single year, to get all the way to here, and to not get it done is crushing, especially in a close game, and especially when you're probably out there thinking we had more left to give. We weren't our best, but their best isn't because they played bad. As I said, it's just because of how good the Penrith Panthers are to stop them from playing their best. So, yeah, I've got no gripes for the Storm. As a fan of the game, it was an unreal grand final, and I really enjoyed every minute of it. I don't think there were any poor players out there. If you look back at this, Jack Howarth and Nick Meaney for me were the biggest concerns in this Melbourne Storm side. Meaney defensively all season has had issues, and Howarth, still so young, wasn't a first choice centre for them at the start of the season, coming into a grand final. And they kept trying. Nick Meaney had some really good efforts in defence. I know he missed a few tackles, as he is prone to do, but there were effort areas where he was sprinting to cover certain ones or up and jamming defence to shut down players, and he was really good in those areas. Beyond that, he also ran the ball 18 times for 163 metres. Jack Howarth, 20 runs from him for 158. They kept trying, a few tackle breaks for Jack Howarth as well. So, yeah, I don't know where you can look at to say that the Storm didn't go well or any individuals not going well. I've got nothing for you. I really don't. Maybe, Tui Kamikamica left the field in after 17 minutes and never got back. Now, I don't know if that's the game plan. He did make like a gazillion tackles in that 17 minutes. Yeah, 20 tackles for 0 missed in 17 minutes. So he was probably buggered. But I don't know if it was the game plan to not get him back on the field, because that's a bit strange to me. Or if there was some sort of underlying injury there. The way that they use their forwards in general, their front rowers in particular, Christian Welch I thought was really good when he was on the field, but only had 20 minutes on there. Oh, geez, I guess he missed 6 tackles, Christian Welch. When I'm looking at it, I don't think all missed... I mean, it's common knowledge that all missed tackles aren't the same. Christian Welch, defensively, his reads I thought were really good, but then sometimes like he'd dive for a player and miss it. I don't recall any like straight-up defensive lapses from Christian Welch. I thought he probably deserved more time on the field, in saying that Josh King was incredible. But you start to... Well, Alec McDonald played 45 minutes off the bench. Jeez, there you go. I was going to say, where did those minutes go? Because Lazarus only got 9 minutes on the field. Tui had 17, and Christian had 20. But yeah, 45 minutes for Alec McDonald. They also did use Tyron Wishart through the middle, and I thought he was really good, Tyron Wishart, in his time out there. It's good to get him involved in a different way, obviously. You can't just have him sit on the bench as that utility and hope that, well, not hope, but if Harry Grant gets injured or if a half gets injured or a fullback, you need to get him out there and let him play his footy. And I thought he was really good. The Panthers went after him. They were belching him, but he just kept turning up, Tyron Wishart, and you got to love that about him. His year this year has been unbelievable, and for him to be all the way in a grand final here, it's a testament to the way he's played his footy. The rest of this side, again, you're looking at so many great players. Sean Bloor and Eli Katoa, I thought were really good, especially Eli Katoa. His defense was unbelievable, and we mentioned that last week, that at the Warriors, he relied on raw skill, his talent and size, and that was that can only get you so far. I expect him to be a good player or a better player under Craig Bellamy. I didn't expect him to be this, where he is all effort areas. Everything that he does is just... He's trying so hard to do it, and it's not just, making your tackles, it's leading the line speed, making great tackles, wrapping the ball up, no offloads, belting players, and still running the ball 14 times for 135 metres, and being that threat in attack. Still two offloads thrown in there too, and 48 tackles, as I said, from Eli Katoa. He was... Yeah, unbelievable, and I didn't expect that would ever see this sort of player from him. As I said, knew he'd get a lot better under Bellamy, but I still think I thought he'd just still rely on that raw talent and not have the effort areas he does. But yes, the Craig Bellamy effect in full swing. Trent Liero I thought was really, really good. I also love that he stood up to the players. Like, there are a few push and shoves, a few scuffles in there, which you expect in a grand final when tensions ride high and passion rides high. And I'm here for it. I love a bit of these players showing their passion, but it was Trent Liero, the young fella, that was out there, maybe not instigating, but being involved in everything and being in the middle of everything and just getting amongst it. And I love that passion that he shows for this side. He had a really good game as well, Trent Liero, for 101 metres in his 66 minutes, and also made 48 tackles of his own. So got to love that from Trent Liero. Sean Bloor, great as well, 33 tackles. It's just, as I said, everyone involved played well. This Storm team, I think, are going to be... I don't know if they're going to be, the next dynasty. Are they still a dynasty? Are they still part of, the fact that this side hasn't missed finals or hasn't got less than, fourth place in, maybe once in 20 years? This is their first grand final since 2020, sure, 4 years ago. But they've still been there and thereabouts despite the big three leaving and whatnot. They're not really losing anyone, not that I can recall from this side. I think they get better. I think next year they're better for the run, and yeah, as I said, you can't doubt Penrith. You can't doubt, even with the players that they're losing, that they're going to get worse, because every year we say that and they don't. This Storm side, though, I think they get better. And if they're only 8 points off winning a grand final here, if they're getting better, I'm terrified to see what they can do. But I'm really excited to see what they can do. A lot of people hate the Storm. A lot of people hate both of these sides because their greatness, because they win. We always hate on greatness for some reason instead of just embracing it. Like, can we not just be happy that we're witnessing this, that we're living in an era to watch these players and these teams and coaches all go at it, because this is unbelievable. But this Storm side, is it still, part of their dynasty? I know this is that we're living and breathing the Penrith Panthers era, the dynasty, but the Storm have been there. Does their dynasty just fade away just because they're not the team winning? Or if they win the next 2 in a row, do we still combine this into the team that has been there for 20 years and the team that won in 2020 and won in 2017 and, were in grand finals in 2016 and 18 and whatnot? Is that part of the same era? I'm not sure where you sort of float on that one, but to me, they are the other best side in this competition, despite the fact that the last few years they haven't been quite where they should be. Where we judge the Storm is so much differently to almost every other side in the comp. Their not good is not coming first. Their poor season is only coming top 4 instead of top 2. And I think that's just, we're almost desensitized to the greatness of the Melbourne Storm, and I think they're going to continue this trajectory that they're on. I think they've got so much left to give. They didn't get the results in this one, but it was a fantastic game, and to me, their effort, the fact that they kept trying, that can't be questioned. Maybe they left points out there, sure. Maybe they didn't play their best, sure. But it's not through a lack of effort. I'm hoping that by the end of this game, nobody's coming off that field saying, I didn't try my hardest, because I don't think that's a Craig Bellamy side. I don't think players involved in this Storm organisation should ever be coming off the field going, I could have given more. And I don't know if they could have. Maybe the players do it differently. In the end, they're the ones out there. But watching that from a spectator, I don't know what more the Storm could have given. They just came up against the best we've ever seen. I still think they're better off for it, though. The Storm, I think, next year and the years to come, they're going to be a force to be reckoned with, and I'm so excited to see what they do as an organisation. You cannot doubt Craig Bellamy. I want to see him win. I think I love Craig Bellamy. I think I love greatness. I love being in the able to witness all of these players and these coaches and these organisations do what they do. I'm not so biased that I want my team to win all the time, and I do. If the Warriors were winning 4 in a row or doing what the Storm have done for so many years, I'd be a happy camper, sure. But when my team loses and they're out of the running, I don't just go, footy's done for another year. I then turn my attention to what these players and these coaches and these organisations are doing. And I revel in that. I embrace that, and I think it's so exciting to be a part of this. I hope people listening also take that in. Fair enough, if you're a Storm fan, you can be disappointed in this. You can be disappointed in that result and know that you came so close. That is tough. That is heartbreaking. But once the dust settles, sit back and just realise you're losing to the greatest side we've ever seen in the game, and you're going to be better from it. Like, do you honestly believe that the Storm aren't going to be there next year? Because I think they are. I think I've got more confidence in the Storm being in a grand final next year than I do the Penrith Panthers, just as it sits. Just the way that these two sides played, knowing the ins and outs of what's happening at both clubs, who's coming, who's going. I back this Storm side to be there at the pointy end. I back them to be in a grand final next year, the year after, unless something crazy happens. But does something crazy ever happen at the Storm? They could lose a Harry Grant or a Cameron Munster for the entire year, and you get someone like Tyron Wishart who does what he does. So I've got no doubt in where they're going to be as an organisation. I'm so excited to see how they come back from this. And God, the games we get between the rematches we get in the regular season between these sides next year are going to be some of the greatest games I'm going to be alive to witness. I'm so excited for that. Quickly, before we sort of wrap up, any other standout players? I obviously mentioned Papenhuyzen. I didn't read out the stats. You can probably go and do that yourself. But just his effort areas and his speed just seems to be back. We mentioned that last week. He was causing a lot of havoc with his speed. few good short side raids as well, going down a blind side and giving it to a winger. Will Warbrick and Xavier Coates having good games and making lots of meters. In fact, Xavier Coates, 211 meters from 20 runs, might be one of the most I've ever seen from him. He's not typically your gigantic winger in terms of his stat line, but he's so good at what he does. But I thought he was really good. Will Warbrick had some immense moments, 185 metres as well. Crazy to think that halfway through this season, we were going, okay, Warbrick needs to be dropped. He needs some reps and reserve grade. And then from that origin period onwards, he turned into one of the best wingers for the rest of the entire competition. Obviously was nominated for a Dalian Winger of the Year award, which I didn't necessarily agree with because of his poor start, but you can't deny his second half to the season and how he's played in finals to be where he is now. So I thought both of the wingers were immense. I've mentioned almost everyone else out there. Just such a great game from the Storm, and you got to hold your head high. I know it sucks. You now have to wait until next season to even get that revenge, and you have to dwell on that. It sucks to be a player out there. I've been in grand finals and lost before, maybe not to the extent of an NRL, but it sucks that you play all season for this goal and you fall so close, so agonisingly close. Killer. And as a fan, killer. Regardless, though, this Storm side is one of the best we've ever seen. Oh, did I even mention Harry Grant? Let's give him a little bit of love here. Of course, the try. He's 5 runs for 49 metres. He was just everywhere. The line break, 3 tackle breaks. He was just darting around absolutely everywhere. And 59 tackles from Harry Grant at hooker. Unreal stuff from him. So I'm going to give him his dues. If the Storm were to go on and win, obviously they still need a couple more tries. We don't know who scores them. They might get a Clive Churchill on the back of it. But for me, the best on the ground for the Storm was Harry Grant. And for him to do that in his first season as captain as well, that's another thing. You're going to be better from that. You're going to be better for another year under his belt, another year leading the team as captain, knowing how to run that shit now. Oh, yeah, it's just, I've got nothing bad to say about the Melbourne Storm. I've just got, you just lost to the best side we've ever seen. And if that's going to be your legacy for now, for this 1 year, you can live with that. It's how you respond to that, and I know that the Melbourne Storm will respond to that positively, and they will be back right there next season. So, God, footy season's done now. We do have the internationals coming. I'm not going to read through those teams, but they are out there. Going to be some really exciting games played there. But yeah, the NRL regular season is done. In terms of what I'm doing for the podcast, I've elucidated a little bit. Probably going to take a little bit of a break. Same goes for the page. We'll have to see. 2 weeks maybe. I'll do my post and whatnot for this one. But have a couple of weeks off. Got a lot coming up. A lot of uni stuff finishing up on uni. This is the last semester. So once that's done and dusted, I will just be working and doing a podcast. So more time to myself. I do have plans for the off season though. After this little break, I will be hopefully moving into a new place, setting up an actual studio there. And then we can have people over. We can have that better viewed, better production quality on all of our podcasts, and everything will be going up. Really excited for the plans we have for the off-season, that sort of fun content, and then, of course, getting into the previews for teams leading closer to next year. But, of course, that we're not going to let it rest for a bit. I think everybody might be a bit burnt out. The footy fever might be slowly dying off. It won't for me. I love my footy, but I understand it will be for a lot of you out there. But we will keep active over the off-season. Maybe just a couple week break, and then we'll be back into it and keeping updates. So stay with us. Got a lot planned and massive things planned for next season in the terms of what we post on this podcast, what we post on the page, etc. So yeah, it sucks that, the NRL season's done and dusted now, but I'm going to be spending every day thinking about footy from now until next season as well. So don't you worry, we'll have enough out there for you guys. But that will wrap us up. What a fantastic end to a fantastic football season. I couldn't have asked for much more in a grand final. 2 teams at the peak of their powers going at it. And what a great grand final it was. So, yeah, it gets me buzzing for these internationals. Gets me buzzing for next season already. So thank you guys for tuning in with us for what has been a long season. If you've stuck around from the beginning to now, or if you joined halfway through, if you just wanted to join for this one podcast and you've come all the way to the end of it right now, thank you guys. Thank you. Thank all of you who have been with me along this first season of this journey. It's been tough. It's been hard. Really enjoyed it though, and I'm excited to progress it into next season. So stick with us, guys. And once again, just a massive thank you to all of you. I'm hoping to do some sort of giveaway maybe over the off season or leading into next season as well, to just give back to some of you who have been with me throughout this journey. So yeah, stay with me. Welcome to DMs are always open on the Chip and Chase Instagram. If you're not following, go and do so. If you want to talk footy or just anything else, if there's something I said in this podcast that you don't agree with, if there's something I missed in this podcast, swing me a DM. I love chatting footy, so just be respectful about it and we can have a good chat about that. But yeah, once again, this wouldn't be where it is without the support from you guys, so thank you from the bottom of my heart. And we'll be back again, ready for next season and ready to rip into this off season. But for now, that's us closing out. So thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll see you guys next time.